Alright, I haven't done one of these yet, so I thought better late than never. Just do a quick update on how the Shield Crush build is doing. It's the only build I've really played this league, aside from like a small side project idea I had because I dropped in Salem, but then I got bored of that. So we're still on the Shield Crush build, and we have been dumping a lot of money into it. We've been getting a lot of money, dumping a lot of money. We have a 6 link. Very, very tasty. We Exalt slammed Hybrid Life on this and cried, but it's okay. It's not that much of a loss. Still want to Exalt it again to get the last suffix on, and then this is just my chest for the rest of the time. Lots of armor and evasion. We picked up Iron Reflexes for that, though I did drop it for a while before because I had a pure armor base. Most of this stuff is pure armor. We have not gone for suppression, but I'll tell you what we've done instead. I'm absolutely loving this build and how it's doing. We got a really good enchant in the first Uber Lab we did after, well, not the first one we did, the second one we did technically. Um, the first one we did when we wanted to start farming enchantments, and we got the Berserk has produced Razors per second. This isn't an insane boost for single target because it still takes us a while to get our rage up. We got the implicit on our gloves. I was thinking of getting a better pair of gloves, and I realized these gloves have everything I want on them: some rarity, life, intelligence, and enough resistances. It's quite hard to find something better, really. I don't want to use the adrenaline gloves because I want the rage implicit, because rage also gives us intimidate via this mastery. Very useful. But yeah, in that first lab we got the rage loss per second, and we got extra life regen when we're hit, which is really nice. Um, we are using Dawnbreaker. In my guide for this build, I said I was going to aim for a rare shield with a big armor value, craft it. I have learned since that fossil crafting may be nerfed in Ruthless, undocumented, but people have done testing, and it seems like the more modifiers on fossils aren't doing what they're supposed to do. So I don't know how viable it is to actually keep slamming fossils to get a shield. You're still going to be able to get them. You can block. You can still block with fossils, I'm pretty sure, just fine. But for now, this shield is best in slot because it lets us use Versatile Combatant. I think I mentioned this in my overview that this was an option for the build if you're going for Dawnbreaker. We're not going for the elemental ailment immunity. What I'm doing is I'm just carrying a extra ignite removal flask. That's like the backup healing flask. And we're just dealing with shock because we can. And you'll see here, we're not, doesn't look like we're done here, but we are. This is all we need here. We take this for the elemental res. It's very useful. And this gets us to 50-50 true block. Not glancing blows. Where the fuck's glancing blows up here? Not glancing blows. Because we're not going to go over all the... no one's going this way. This is this shit's terrible. We want to stay around here. We want to stay around here. We haven't gone up here either. We're just stopping here. And I also took off this mastery for increased armor when stationary because I was taking some clips for stuff for this video, and I was reviewing how the build plays, and it's not that often I stand still. And if I am standing still for a bit, I'm fine, I'm not in danger. If I'm ever in a dangerous situation, I'm always moving, because a lot of the dangerous things that can hit this build are like rare monster effects, lightning mirages, volatile orbs, stuff. All that stuff is really high damage in tier 16s, and you really don't want to be standing still much. So I didn't find that mastery. It's nice for PoB inflation, saying like, "Oh, look at me, I have extra armor because I stand still for 5 seconds." But in reality, I don't think you stand still for that long. Most of the time, even when doing pinnacle bosses, I'm usually moving around constantly. This build can eat a Cirrus Die Beam though because of the spell block and all. It's great. We did Cirrus without dying last night. I got a where is it? Let's move over here. I'll move it. It's a bit noisy around here. I could actually just mute the sound for a sec. But you can hear the lovely crackling sound of the fire. We've got a Crown of the Inward Eye, which is not selling. Let's just reduce the price of that slowly until someone picks it up. A nice 17% roll on that. We dropped a Heat Shiver, which no one's buying yet. This is our Assailant. We double corrupted it. I don't know if even like you can get the Tainted whatever to enchant it in Ruthless. I don't care. I don't think it's going to sell to anyone. I'm not even listing a price for it. But yeah, we killed Cirrus without any deaths. This build is great for bossing. This build is doing great for Delve. Um, Other big pickups, we've got Arm's Anguish. This required some jiggling of our resistances, and our old belt had like a nice, more life than this gives with its 30% increase. Because what I'm missing here mostly is like flat life on gear. This has flat life, this has flat life, this has flat life, but like I don't have it on the rings. That's the biggest thing for this build. This build is missing, and I'm live searching for good rings. But this ring fixes our accuracy problem, give a bit of res as well, and this ring is a mana leech ring, which gives a bit of res, and also gives us accuracy on rings is it's one of the best places to get it. Because people don't value that stuff too highly on trade. If you're playing SSF, it's like you work with what you've got. We're still running Duresos Salutes because it's amazing, and we need the attributes on this as well. Dear fucking god! I was thinking of trying to double crop these for like additional curse, then I realized that the attributes are like really fucking valuable. We narrowly have enough of everything basically. Because tattoos, you will see this looks funny here. We'll talk about this in a sec. Most of my tattoos that I have on stuff is Chaos Res, a bit of Ellie Res. These are really cheap on trade, and you can just bulk. If you're playing SSF, you'll farm up a bunch of them anyway. They're really nice to have a bunch on hand, just in case there's a bit of rarity over there. Just in case you need to fix your res all of a sudden, you can throw a few different res tattoos on. It's good to have some flexibility with that. That has made Ruthless so much easier, because what this is basically doing is giving us a micro version of the crafting bench, I would say. The biggest thing that Ruthless we got taken away from us in Ruthless is the crafting bench. Our ability to say, okay, I need to move my resistances around, so I'm just going to take the cold res off this and turn it into lightning or whatever. You know, there's lightning, the cold and chaos modifiers you can put on stuff, and then the elemental chaos are really nice. You can get off the unveil crafts. And we can't do that anymore. We can't craft a bench stuff, but what we can do is we can just put resistant tattoos on. Like this 3% to all Ellie res one could just be a lightning res one. To be fair, actually, is all I need. But I put this one on a long time ago. I'm not gonna change it now. You can see we're only just overcapped on lightning. So elemental weakness does make us And I got some life ones here as well, because as I said, this build is a bit starving for life. So I put some extra life ones where I could afford them. I could change this rarity one to life, but I kind of like pushing the rarity a bit higher. It's proven useful since we've got some really good drops. The reason why we have a 6 link is because we are able to sell an Enlighten. We dropped an Enlighten support. We auctioned that in trade chat. The first person who pinged me about it said, oh, I bought them for 30 AUK in the past. We sold it for 88 AUKs and an Exalted Orb. It was about 110 AUK value-ish. Huge sale. So we bought an Omen of Connections, we bought the best chest we could, and we then Exalt slammed it and got a shit mod. But it's fine. We need to fix the, we don't need the lightning damage on this, but the elemental res is useful for now until I find a better solution to that, or more res on a ring or something. We want to get basically Eldritch Exalted Orbs. That's the next thing for the build, because we're keeping this hat forever. This has the mana reservation mod, it has the right enchant, it has a big chunk of rarity, it's great. All it's lacking is some extra armor, but honestly, like, we've got enough armor to be happy. This build isn't about infinitely stacking armor, it's like just using the fact we have a lot of armor with Replica Dream Feather. We're fine with that. Another huge change from the build I haven't mentioned is we're using Dawn Strider. I got this idea off the guy who was the top, probably still is, I don't know if he's still playing, I know I'm more experienced than him now. He's level 90 as well. A guy called Sev C, who sold me my Dawnbreaker when I first switched to it. He's using Dawn Strider. And I POB'd it quickly to say, okay, we'll go down to 1 totem, but we can take off Panopticon. You notice we don't even take Panopticon. We don't anoint it, we don't take it. This gives us a mastery effect. It gives a slightly better version of it, actually. Plus, we just save, like, fucking hell, it's like 6 points to get all that shit. We put that elsewhere. I would not be able to get, like, stuff like the 50-50 block or this setup, which I'll talk about in a sec. Without that. Also, it's just really nice having just 1 totem. I mean, I can upgrade this to a Val Ancestral War Chief when I have the time. It'd be nice for get another fuck you button. Put it on like where Frostbomb is, make like an alt setup for that. I can probably put Frostbomb here, and then yeah. I can move that around later. But yeah, we can upgrade to the Val Ancestral War Chief, but only having to press 1 totem button is a lot better, both for like keeping up with uptime with bosses, because even with the lingering mastery, you're going to notice like, oh, my totems have been dead for like a year. Whoops. It's just so nice, and these give life and movement speed as well. It's a really good pair of boots, and I'm just much happier using them. It's just much better. The one thing we're lacking from it is because we don't use Ancestral Protector, so attack speed can feel it feels a bit slower sometimes when we're not berserking and we don't have rage, or we do get rage slow bosses. But that's fine as long as we're doing damage. It's fine, and we often are just berserking regularly in maps and delve and stuff, so it feels fine there as well. Right, this is the Warrior Tales setup, courtesy of a guy called Art. Um, Pointed out to me that this is a really good spot for one, and I was like, oh hey, I have a couple of points I can spare. I can move some like extra life nodes I had around. This is worth it. And he had it like all of these were Chaos Res, and I was like, this single dual socket alone. I mean, I could just like take this out, can't I, to show. We're on 41, 21. So this gives an extra 20% Chaos Res. There's 5 of these, like I said, and having all of these as Chaos Res, yeah, it's a lot. So it basically turns this into, where's the Chaos Res thing up here? It's basically, no, not that one. Where is it? Yeah, it's almost like having Asylum, aside from the reduced curse effect. But getting Chaos Res on this part of the tree is really fucking hard, so this is making our res a lot easier. You'll notice we're taking this, however. This doesn't do anything, but it's fine, because it's basically spending an extra point so we can do this. This is the tattoo of the Kitava Makanga. I was looking quickly because I noticed this spot as 7 points, so you can put some Makanga tattoos here, because I'm taking Wavering Stats, taking this cluster to enable Versatile Combatant, and I was like, if I take this point, if I can spare this, what can I put here that's useful? Because I don't need like +1 additional projectile, I'm a melee build. And there's this. And this is basically, you think about like Val Pact is doubles your so it's like that's 100% increase. This is 160% increased. The only thing stopping me from taking Val Pact as well, aside from like not having the points for it, is that we wouldn't be able to use Enduring Cry, which is kind of nice to have like an on-demand boost. But like I have considered it. The only other problem is like we'd be using Blood Rage, so then we'd have like permanent degen when we're not doing it. I hate that. I hate using Vile Pact and Blood Rage together. It's horrible, because if you're not killing anything for a bit, then you slowly just notice your health going down, your health potions are gone, you're like, oh hang on, now I'm just degenning. It's just annoying. It's an option that we might explore that later on. Maybe if we can get to level 91 and move something around, we could try using Vile Pact for that. We just take this again for the mana leech, so we don't have to get it on a ring, but that's another whole point. It's not really worth it. But yeah, it's crazy how like a point like here will be like 15% maximum total life recovery per second, and this is just 160%. One option with loads more points is we can go the full way into leech and then just get 10% of leeches instant, and then we're like leeching 400 health on hit basically, because we can leech 4,000 health per second. That's options again. That it's an option. There's more options for this build, and if you're not running Dawnbreak, if you get a really good shield with the Elemental Avoid mod, you can still get the avoid stuff here instead of this block stuff. You can go that route, but I really like the 50/50 spell block. I think it's been a great investment. I don't think there are any other significant changes from how I designed the build originally. We dropped Bannerman. We're probably going to get that back at 91. That was primarily just to make sure we could get this going and all the block stuff, which is fine. It's not the biggest. The thing about banners is when we're doing this build that's fine DPS for like tier like eye level 83 delve and all that. It's fine. So banners, that's where you get like your 50 stacks on your banner. You don't really get that doing a boss. Maybe you can get it like during Shaper, but so the benefit of this is lower than other DPS nodes, but then during mapping it's actually pretty big. But I don't think it's not as needed. No, we're not taking a mastery either, because none of them do like a massive amount. We're not going to reserve life and mana because I don't want to faff around with like losing Gladius Perseverance and having to get like, another mastery to count on full life, and that's fine. The build is performing very well, as the footage earlier hopefully shows for like a various different like shit. I didn't actually. What have I done recently that I wish I'd taken footage of like the Eater and Exarch fights earlier in the build as well, but that's not like the current state of it. But they were still like we got our 2 Void Stones, we bought our 3rd, because we're on Trade League and we can just do that. It's the wrong screen. We bought our 3rd. I'm gonna probably try to do Uber Elder ourselves, unless someone sells it to me for a good price beforehand. I have the money to get it, you know. Yeah, our Atlas progression is doing pretty well. We only got a few red mats left here and just some unique maps to get, which we will probably never see. Right. And so the build currently does like, I mean, the flat PoB DPS, once we have our rage and stuff, is something around like 2 million, which is fine. It's more than enough for everything because we're basically unkillable to most things, which feels really good when you're trying to gain experience. Although still, it's still a struggle. It still takes a long time to get experience from anything. Let's just do a map to do some live demoing. Let's do Maven, which we're starting to do the Maven stuff now. We did like Exarch, we did an extra Exarch recently, just to try to get more thingies. I'll probably just buy them at this rate though. Let's just deco it as well. We'll solve that. And so, let's switch to blood stats. The build just chews through walls, packs. You see we're berserking, we're not losing rates that fast, so we can keep that up by marking stuff as we go. Which it creates a little bit of a 2-button setup. I do like to mark something in a pack before I kill it, just to keep the rage going, but it does make things faster overall. You don't have to do that though. You can just keep a 50 rage if you want. It's I think it's a bit always good. I love the feeling of just pressing berserk and then just like running. But you see how we are. This is a very high tier map. It's not the most rippy mods, but most of the time we can just throw ourselves at whatever. You can bone curse blue packs and they can die faster as well. And there's this guy has Molten Shell. We're just going to ignore that. Get some Sulfite for our trouble. There's some shit over here. Let's get over here. Good eye. Good eye to you, too. Oh, silver coins. One of the things this build is not as good at, admittedly, is TotA, because it's not a TotA design build. The best thing it can do is not die as much as other builds will. It's quite durable. It still dies to a lot of stuff, but we do have, like, how much armor does it say we have? 62k there. And this is that's with reduced curse effect. That's not a real though. Our standing armor is more like 70k, I think, and then like it goes up to 100k when both off masks are on, which is a lot of armor. Makes for a nice DPS boost via the replica Dream Feather as well. But yeah, my favourite thing about this build and the goal I have to make it is like I don't feel like I have to turn my brain on too much when doing regular mapping. There is some content. Doing Delve can get touchy sometimes. Like there are some biomes where you get overwhelmed quickly, and then there's like 4 different rares, and they each have a modifier that's going to kill you, and then you're like, oh shit. But for the most part, we are chilling when we're mapping with this build. It's comfy, it's cozy. You'll see here we got there's 2 unique bosses with Maven. Let's do this. And you see how the combination of regen, leech, and all that shit. See, we're not Bone Shouter, and we can still just stand in the middle of everything.
The test is ready.
Yeah. It's great. How do I fit all this shit? Well, that's garbage. Actually, that's pretty high armor and evasion. It just doesn't have any resistances. And it has a shitty straight. Yeah, it's pretty shit. I'm too optimistic about things. Still 50 monsters around here. I'll leave the tunic. Fucking. I do not ID every single rare that drops because it just takes so fucking long. I've probably left a like the best chest in the world on the ground, but I don't care. And you see how sometimes we can just use Berserk as a extra Quicksilver Flask? I only run 1 Quicksilver Flask. For a lot of time I was running 2 Strongbox. That's ice level, we can just block that. There's a 50-50 chance we block it. It doesn't kill us otherwise though, we have enough like res. And because we've got a much better armor now, Unbreakable is also kicking in big time to reduce the elemental damage we take. We finish this map. Did we drop another map from this map? We didn't really drop. We didn't really sustain. Map sustain hasn't been too bad, but the trick to map sustain is being able to do a lot of content in like tier 16 map. Being able to do, if you could do the Baron maps, or not Baron, the Conqueror maps, the Elder maps, the Shaper maps that drop, you're going to be a lot happier overall, because those are extra tier 14 plus maps you can run. Yeah, this build excels at that kind of content because it can just stand there and kill things, and a lot of the time you don't have to worry. I don't think I've died to any of the Conquerors yet. I might have actually. Oh, I think I ate a Drox Fist ages ago, but that's when we had less. Oh, we can probably eat Drox Fist. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to check. We have experience. I told myself I was going to level past 90 as well, but now we have like almost a third of a level, and now I'm like, yeah, okay. Ooh, why don't these go in the currency tab? But yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else to mention with this build. All gems. I'll go through my normal build things. One thing I've learned about this build you can do quite well, I'm holding a punishment gem here. That's because any difficult boss, or if we're doing any pinnacle boss content, we swap out Warlord's Mark, because if there's no ads, there's no reason to use Warlord's Mark. We're not going to get anything from it, but you can change, instead of casting Vulnerability, you can cast Punishment when they're half health, and it's just a better curse by a country fucking mile. It's like an extra 25% increased damage taken. It's really fucking good. And they also get debilitated, so if they hit you and they hit you again quickly, the next hit's going to do less damage, which adds up to a lot as well. Yeah, and this is almost like we've been leveling this slowly. I should probably keep it in the offhand when I'm not doing things. Although what I do want to do, I'm going to check if I have melee fizz damage support. I probably don't. I need to buy one. Another thing I've been thinking about to help us with ye old pinnacles. I'm going to put this here for now. It's just a shitty weapon swap. It doesn't need to be there. One of the things I've realised is we're running Pulverized. This wasn't in the guide, but the increased AoE is so good. And the less attack speed, it's fine. Without it, it's kind of you kind of have to stay in Sand Stance while you're mapping and only switch to Blood Stance for bosses, because it's just too small of an AoE. But with this plus Sand Stance, you get a really nice AoE, as you probably saw earlier. And we're running. Oh, I do have a melee fizz damage already. Oh, well, I need to put something else here. Basically, there must be something that has better PDPS than like Pulverize. We've got Impale. If I could, maybe I can get an Omen of Blanching and make this a white socket and change it for a green one sometimes. I don't know. Knowing me, I'll get the Omen of Blanching. It will just change the green socket here to white. We are running, the single totem. We're only running 2 supports on it. I don't think there's anything else I really want to run on it. Not much point. Big things, big tech. We're running Hex Bloom down here for vulnerability, which lets us spread vulnerability after we cast it. It feels so good. You cast it once during like a delve encounter and just everything just gets made vulnerable gradually. You don't have to recast it, which is a DPS loss if you're constantly standing around recasting curses, as we already feel from when we're casting Warlord's Mark. So if we're already casting Warlord's Mark, we don't want to be spamming vulnerability as well on everything else to make everything die quicker. It's a good DPS boost for like the main thing in delve encounters that will kill you deep down is not killing things fast enough, where stuff just keeps constantly spawning. That's where you get overwhelmed and panic and shit. And so, yeah, being able to keep vol on stuff without having to constantly cast it is pretty fucking nice. We're running Frostbomb as well as a little tech option. That's for like doing Maven invitations and also killing life regen rares and shitters and stuff. We got our Determination. One of the first things we bought that was expensive was Determination. It's basically build enabling in a lot of ways. You just fucking run it. You always want to run that shit on this kind of build. We're running cast when damage taken blood rage. I've never noticed this not work fine. It's only a small attack speed loss to not run level 20, and we could just self cast it on here, but then you'd have to constantly hear murders my ears. Can't stand it. We're running Consecrated Path with faster attacks. This is something we could drop, but I really like the mobility again with Delving. It's really nice to be able to just instantly teleport yourself to like the other side of a pack if you're getting stuck on something. Feels really good. And yeah, there's some mild optimizations you can do for this based on your playstyle. Like you should be delving with this build. It's really good for delve. But if you hate delve, this is maybe less important. Do something else. I don't know. You'll see we don't have that much money, but we spent most of it recently. We got some Barlauls. We were doing Lucid Dreams for a bit. Let's look at the Atlas tree here quickly. It's quite a pretty little thing. We're just going like whip up, taking all the Kerak stuff as we do, taking all the Alva stuff. You have to take all the Alva stuff. We've got Jun Mission Chance as well because it's right there. I am kind of tempted after I get this to go all the way down here, and then I'm taking Intelligence Gathering and Test of Loyalty just to farm some Katarina. But yeah, it's less important. Jun is nice though. I would rate the Masters with like it's like Alva first in this league, and then Alva and Nico are kind of tied. I'm forcing Alva here, trying to force it just to get more temples done because not because I have a sacrificial garb to try to make into a Shadow Stitch, but also just I like doing temples. It's fun content. I actually don't enjoy Delve as much, but I do it, and it's just really good for experience, and the fossils really help everything. Yeah, we're blocking everything but Heist still. We do Heist regularly. Heist's probably the rippiest content I have. I get to the point where I just scour blueprints often because if I get anything good, we did get a replica Pharaoh's Fur a while ago. Not a while ago, like several days ago, but got the replica Pharaohs. It was only a few days ago. I can't remember. Sold that for 50 AUX immediately. That helped fund the Arms Anguish and some other stuff. I'll move over. There's less noise. So yeah, Heist, paying bank as usual. Even if you don't hit big hits like the replica Pharaohs, there's loads of stuff that's just useful from there. I'll eventually probably find some good alt quality gems. Hoping I eventually see a alt quality blood raids because that will give frenzy charges while bossing. I could also get the frenzy mod on. There's a what I'm looking for here when I'm rolling. What I'm doing here currently. We're going to keep this as a lesser. We're going to get a Eldritch Exalted Orb. We're going to exalt with the Eater of Worlds being greater, which will put a suffix on. But then we're going to use higher tier Searing Exarch Embers to try to get the Frenzy Charge generation while a unique is present. Or even just while a pinnacle. A unique's fine, but that will give us... Because if you... I think the minimum for the unique specific one is 0.9. Every it's 9 seconds. Sorry. So frenzy charges last 10 seconds. You get one every 9 seconds. You basically sustain maximum frenzy charges while in the presence of a unique, as long as you keep like near them, which is pretty fucking good. It takes a bit of time to ramp up like our rage, but yeah. We're taking the. I have not got a fully real blueprint yet. We only just recently got this, and yeah, and we're taking the Elder Chant. I'm going to get the most toys soon as well. I might just actually get that now. I might just take off some. We're taking the whole pack size wheel just because the pack size is fucking great, and yeah, and we're still holding all three of these. Big thing of this build is I'm running all three of these shaping nodes. I just don't have to run, but I very rarely die in maps. Most of my deaths come in Alva Temple and Delve when I try to do like stuff there. Like fucking hell, I had a tier 3 Sadist Den and the architect in the Sadist Den was quintuple possessed. And we did kill him. But yeah, I wasn't trying to level at that point, and for good reason. He rinsed like 3 of my portals. But yeah, I don't know if this is the most optimal Atlas tree, but it's what I'm running. I'm quite happy with it. We're not really touching any content other than the stuff we've got specs there. We've got plenty of maps in our stash. This is unorganized. I don't have a fucking map stash. I don't care. Oh, it's expensive for what it is. I don't think it's very important for Ruthless. Yeah. Got some fossils. We're probably going to reuse this tab for something else because I'm not trying to craft shields anymore, but these are our failed shield crafting attempts. Flash dump tabs, tattoo dump tabs, and all the stuff that costs a bit more. We do have an Eldritch... We have an annulment orb here. which I could use to try to get the hybrid. It's like a 1 in 3 to get the hybrid off. But if I whiff, the whole thing gets fucked. Which is kind of scary. If I hit the tier 2 hybrid, fucked. Even if I hit the duelists, the armor gets a lot worse. So I don't really want to do that. I definitely maybe I can sell that to someone instead. In terms of fragments, we've got half an Elder set. We'll do Elder soon, hopefully. We just haven't been dropping many. I've got a spare Dawnbreaker here. I dropped. This is like MTV Cribs at this point. Like, look at my stash. Yeah, we got some stuff. And the weird thing about this league is most of the stuff in these tabs has not been selling. In previous leagues, I swear I could put stuff in a 1-alc tab and it would sell within a couple of days usually. Unless people are just buying less gear. I don't know. Some of this stuff is definitely like this ring's worth it. Look at this. It's life. It has elemental rares. It's just worth an alc. No one's buying it though. No one is buying it. But you know it's fine. We've done fine anyway. This as well. Like the attributes on this shit, the armor evasion. I get it like only 3 sockets. That's the problem. By the way, there's an oil here. Yeah, so yeah, my recommendation if you're running this build, aside from like, oh, just drop an Enlighten and then buy a 6-link with a profit, or make one yourself basically. This build is best if you're... It's worth doing TotA still. I enjoy TotA when it's not trying to fuck me in the ass. But I would say this build's priority is just being able to, like, you can do maps in good time, you can do delve very safely. Well, I'm going to demo some delve. You saw the delve shit earlier. It's really satisfying to... Let me just check, double check. Did I get all the sulfite in here? I just didn't notice. Yeah, I did. Oh, let's fuck off. Greetings. It's like a very good all-rounder. The only thing it's not as good at compared to like a specialized build is the league mechanic. But what you can probably do for the league mechanic is just gem swap some stuff around. You could probably get a gear swap something to make make this build like just tankier, like even tankier. But the nice thing about being able to kill stuff is you can just like kill. I'm like almost rank 500. I think I am rank 500-ish, and I can just kill like a lot of the smaller units that spawn still, which is very helpful for like when you're playing a defensive role on your team temporarily until you can get an opportunity to attack. Especially now I've got a 6-link. So happy. 6-link. Anyway, yeah, that's basically the update. I'm gonna stop rambling before I lose track of time and carry on mapping. Hope everyone else is doing well with their Ruthless League. All right.